Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and game 1 in a series between Killer versus Ddoro here on Neo Enigma. This is game 1 in what I believe to be a best of 5 series. Hopefully I'm not misspoken. Here I am making up words. Anyways, we have Killer spawning as the yellow Zerg on the bottom right hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Ddoro spawning as on the top right hand side of the map as the blue Protoss. Protoss versus Zerg here on Neo Enigma. I'm hoping to get in a lot of good games in this series, and we'll see what's going to be happening here as we now see a pylon and pretty much a front door seal gateway followed by a cybernetics core. Most likely, perhaps the zealot will sit right here, making sure that Zerglings are unable to run by. Now, Neo Enigma, one of the maps that are not part of the ladder map pool, but a very, very popular map for some of those high-end tournaments. IC Cup, I know that it is a part of that. Go for SC2 as well. And as I believe this particular matchup was taken from Go for SC2, as a probe now going to come up the ramp and do a bit of scouting. So this will be a lot of good information for Ddoro here. He's going to be able to see what exactly Killer's going for. He can see that it is going to be an extractor pool expansion. And now Ddoro knows that it is not going to be any fast expansion attempt here. So this is all very, very important information and very important news, as Ddoro just going to try to get as much scouting information as possible, stick around as long as he can, try to perhaps disrupt some mining, but still we don't see a spawning pool just quite yet. So maybe Killer actually is over. Oh, sorry, the spawning pool down over here. So the spawning pool is in play. Killer now getting up this extractor, and he will have those metabolic boosted lings very, very early. Now, one of the benefits of getting that extractor pool first is that when you do eventually go for your hatchery, this pylon probe harassment doesn't really play into effect for much at all. Anyways, coming back into the base of the Protoss, you can see Ddoro, the Protoss player, now getting up an assimilator. He will be getting up that cybernetics core right over here. Looks like my computer lag issues from yesterday have reduced significantly, so hopefully that is going to be no longer a problem, as we now see a probe down here. That probe is going to try to disrupt a hatchery, but it's not going to really work. You're going to see that those 4 Zerglings are going to come out just in time to chase away that probe, as a drone is also going to make its way down as well. So we will soon see Killer running off of 2 hatcheries, and he's going to have a decent number of production just because of that early queen. And now in comes this one particular hatchery now. An Overlord now making its way off to the north as well. You can see a Zealot now being trained, followed by a Chrono boosted out Stalker, and also getting that Warp Gate tech. We can see that Ddoro also went for a second assimilator as well. So a number of options really available for the Protoss now. He can either go into a Stargate now, a faster Stargate. Our faster Stargate would allow him to perhaps go for some harassment, and otherwise he could go into other gateways as well. Gateway units are very, very strong after that cybernetics core against a lot of Zerglings. Zealots able to handle those Zerglings as long as they are not surrounded, but it is going to be a Stargate instead. So I do not expect to see an expansion anytime. Normally, if Zerg players go for, Protoss players go for a lot of sentries, they can save up those minerals for an earlier Nexus. But with that earlier Stargate, most likely he will try to go for a Void Ray followed by some Phoenixes, one or the other, opening up with that, and then be able to perhaps snipe down a couple Overlords and perhaps even a vulnerable Queen with a Graviton Beam. Zerglings now making their way off to the north, and that may be a bit of a problem there, as a lot of Zerglings are running across the map. That Stalker needs to get behind. The Zealot needs to hold position right there. It looks like it will hold position there. And then this is like the perfect wall. The Zealots need to back off, though, making sure that they do not overextend or over-engage themselves. Zerglings once again trying to run in, unable to do so. Now backing off a little bit further. What is going to be happening here as the Zerglings now trying to run by? There is a force field. Zergling sentry, Ddoro, getting a little bit overzealous there and now getting completely surrounded. That is a bit of a problem. The Stalker now needs to get in position. The probe now down over here as well. A probe now warping in a pylon. But wow, Killer getting off a lot more damage than I would have expected. But we are now going into a Void Ray. So that Void Ray now will be making its way out. Will it fly by the Overlord close enough? It will spot it. And yes, he will go after that. So Killer now going to be denied any more scouting information, as this one Overlord will get shot down. However, there are no Phoenixes coming out of this Stargate, so it is not going to be continued harassment at all, as Ddoro now in a bit of trouble. He's running off of one base. He has a lot of Chrono Boost to use, but he has no real way of taking up another expansion. He knows that his opponent can now essentially power drone his way through the rest of the game. Killer is behind on drones right now, but a couple round of spawn larva can easily change that. Zerglings once again putting pressure through that front door. Another pylon warping in here. All these stalkers will get destroyed. A couple sentries now trying to fight this back off as well. This one pylon will get destroyed as really Protoss is sitting inside one base with really nowhere to run. The longer this game goes, the worse it will be for the Protoss, as the Protoss is going to essentially mine out his base very quickly. A lot of energy being saved up on the Nexus for no apparent reason. Perhaps reducing the cooldown time on these warp gates would be beneficial. Perhaps even going for another Void Ray, chrono boosting out. And there you see it. Let me expand, please. Coming in, just more of a plea, and Killer is just laughing at him right now. Like that's pretty much the issue right now. Killer with that very, very fast metabolic boosted links able to just deny his opponent any expansion. Sentries, Zealots now making their way out, going to try to deal some damage against those Zerglings. Those Zerglings are going to back off, but the license to drone now underway. 36 drones compared to 30 probes, already running off of more mineral patches. Killer is not harvesting at any diminishing returns, and you can see what a large difference that is in now 1200 versus 800 in terms of total minerals. A 400 mineral difference here as we now see more queens coming into play. Killer still needs a macro hatch right now. He's been training up a lot of Zerglings and a lot of drones, so a macro hatch would work out very well as an Overlord now trying to push its way in, but quickly getting turned around by 2 queens. Now the problem will be whether or not Killer is going to be able to macro up a large enough army in time. He needs that spawn larva to come down, and in a hurry. As you can see that the layer is about to finish with that spawn larva. The Zerglings now trying to push in, and the queens are now pushing in. Force fields now engaging as well. The queens able to push back that one particular Void Ray. The Void Ray, however, dealing even more damage. The queens gonna be in a bit of trouble. Down goes the Void Ray though, as the roaches are now battling against the roaches. Sentries and Zealots. More units are coming in. 11 roaches now being trained up. The drones being forced to pull back once again. The roaches dealing damage. Drones joining in on the fight, but there is a force field on the ramp. The Ddoro canceling his Nexus and now pushing out, and this may actually shut down this hatchery over here. This is going to be a very large problem as those force fields constantly in play here, and Killer now in trouble, overexposing himself, over droning just a little bit. You can see that the roaches are just scampering about. You can see that this one sentry does have enough for another force field right now. Will he be able to drop another force field before it is too late? Army compositions, and it looks like Killer is in trouble. Killer now down to only a couple roaches here behind in harvesters. More Zerglings in production. Will it be enough? That is the key question, as the Zerglings are now trying to push their way out. Zerglings are going to start swarming, but they're only coming in a single file line. In comes a queen. The queen now engaging as well. The queen getting focused down. The Zerglings are going to try to swarm around once more. The Zerglings going to be able to pick off a lot of these stalkers. Now the stalkers, Zealots, taking down that queen here, and wow, this is going to be a very, very close fight, but the damage may have already been dealt as a lot of Zealots now coming in as well. Zealots, Zerglings trying to engage. The Zerglings backing off once more, and the Ddoro may be able to just get down a couple free Overlords once more. Overlords now getting destroyed. Queens, Queen not even nearby, as this Zealot going to finish off the Roach, and I believe that is going to be the GG. So Killer completely turning this game around after doing a nice early expansion, extractor pool expansion, being able to trap the Protoss player inside his base for so long. You saw the Nexus was warped in, and then essentially it was cancelled right behind it. So as soon as it was cancelled, I think it allowed Killer, or Killer thought that he had one more round of spawn larva to try to power drone. Instead, in came the attack, and really, that timing attack was absolutely perfect, feigning that he was going to try to expand, and that is ultimately what did Killer in. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed Game 1.